This is the Relives podcast, season 8 of the podcast. Brought to you by betsafe.net.
betsafe.net.
Thank you for joining us. We'll sure you have no regret. Even we can't believe we're not canceled yet. We're gonna tell some stories. We're gonna have a good time. You know for sure. We're gonna have a laugh. This is the podcast. This is the podcast. 100% free.
100%. That's it.
This is the podcast. This is the podcast.
betsafe.net.
This is the pod.
That's it.
This is the podcast. This is the pod. What you watching? This is the podcast. This is the pod.
betsafe.net.
Well, this is an episode that the audience has demanded for many months now. We get a lot of mail that people are upset that some of their favorite segments have been forgotten by Stoff, the producer of the podcast.
Yeah.
It's mostly his fault.
Can't we just blame Lester? He's not here.
Well, I think the deal with the looper is, and I don't know that they actually miss the segments that much because we don't really know what we're doing in them. I think they miss the theme songs, maybe that Lester put so much effort into. And so what we thought we'd do here on this podcast, one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to talk about anything that happened in the past week. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're going to completely avoid the news from January the
11th,
13th to the 20th. Stoff, is that correct?
I'm not reading anything between.
No. What if a meteor was going to hit the planet between January 13th and 17th? Like it was probably going to hit on the 22nd. And then we did this podcast and we didn't mention it.
Well, speaking of meteors, this brings us to our first segment, Puffy's Hypothetical.
Yo, 1, 2. Puffy's hypotheticals are messing with my mind. Puffy's hypotheticals, what's gonna be this time? Puffy's hypotheticals are blowing my mind again. Puffy's hypotheticals.
I have a hypothetical on this after the movie I watched last night.
All right, Puffy, just come clean, okay? Our homework this week on our text chat was to watch the film Don't Look Up.
Don't Look Up. Yeah.
Don't Look Up, which is and you what happened?
Well, it was a little bit of a late ask, I will say, that this came out, that we had to watch this movie. And so last night I was faced with a dilemma, was to do my homework and watch the movie, or to watch the football game, which was on, and then pretend I did my homework by reading the Wikipedia version of the movie, and I chose that option.
Nothing wrong with that.
Stoff,
it was actually quite thorough.
Stoff
it was quite thorough.
I don't know.
It does seem like a good movie, too.
It read well.
It did. I like the ending.
Now, is there any point in watching a film, Stoff or Puffy, after you've read the Wikipedia version of
for
film?
sure. For sure.
Like, would that be enticing? Is it like a verbal trailer?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, I did also watch the trailer. I wanted to be able to picture who I was reading about. And the trailer gave away a lot. There was a lot in that trailer.
As it always does. Yeah. Now, Don't Look Up. I was going to call it What Goes Up. Don't Look Up is a movie about a satire about today, basically. And it's basically a takeoff of the meteor movies of back in the day. What were they called?
Armageddon,
Deep Impact. But really how people would react in today's world where they wouldn't actually believe it was happening because it would be fake news. That's fair. And it's very well done.
Inconvenient to actually believe what's actually happening,
right.
I think is the...
And I actually believe this movie is probably quite accurate to an extent as to the way that people would react.
Yes, I mean, I think it puts it a lot more face value. Like in the movie's a lot more honest, where people would just purposely look away, where in real life, I think people try to disguise those motives a little bit more, but it's still the same.
Right.
That's certainly how I read it.
Motivations.
So did we just do what you watching in the middle of Puffy's hypotheticals? Did
Yeah,
we just
I
have
did.
two things come together?
Yes. When
All
two
right. So
become
what's
one.
your hypothetical based on the movie you
Based
read
on
on
the movie
Wikipedia?
that I read on Wikipedia. So my hypothetical is you're making a deal with the devil, like the real devil. And he says
Saban.
that the real devil says that you will get Jeff Bezos type money, but not like in like stock auctions or like crypto. It's like liquid $700 billion. Now, but in return for this, in the next 30 years from now, a meteor that is heading towards Earth, it's called a planet killer. I read that on that's what they called it in the movie, right?
Yeah.
A planet
that part
killer
right.
is coming for the Earth. Okay. In 30 years, nothing you can do to, well, hold on. So
Anytime within the 30 years or
no,
definitively
30 years. 30 years from the time you collect that money, this is coming towards you. But
That's an awkward freeze.
What a
That's an
cliffhanger.
awkward freeze right
but
there.
if you
Okay.
if the world they can be there's a 50% chance of success.
Just hold on a second. You keep freezing. So finish the sentence. So
Okay.
in 30 years, the meteor is going to
30
hit.
years, the meteor is coming.
Yeah.
Love it.
The planet killer. Now, if the world comes together, it will take 25 years for them to solve this problem. But there's only a 50% chance they'll solve the problem. So, will you take this deal? Because you're going to have to come clean within 5 years that you made a deal with the devil causing the world this problem.
Oh, you have to tell the world.
Oh, that's a twist.
Yeah, well, otherwise the world's not going to know about it.
Well,
right?
they'll murder you like in the Purge. It'll be a single person purge.
But do you think that will happen, or will they look at it as you bringing the world together by giving them this problem?
You know what's funny about this hypothetical and the way your mind works is I thought the hypothetical was just going to be purely you get the money for 30 years or the planet can be saved. But in your head, that wouldn't even be a logical hypothetical because, of course, you're taking the money.
Yeah.
So you had to add the caveat that you would be exposed in 5 years.
Yeah, you're going to be exposed.
Why would no one not take the money to
100%.
save the world?
30 years, you have a great 30 years, and who cares what happens? But no, you have to now live with the shame, the public shame that you made this deal with the devil.
I'm not doing it.
That's a tough one, man. Yeah.
Really?
Well, of course not. I don't want the guy to be the guy who, I don't care how much money I have. I'm not going to be the guy who ended the planet.
So basically, for 20 years, people would look at you as the biggest on earth.
I think you should say, Puffy, for 20 years you live the life, and then the last 10 years people look at you as the biggest. That makes it more of a quandary.
5 good years where you can live carefree. But then you're going to have to take a leadership role and step up and bring the world together by telling them about this problem that we now have to solve because you put them in that little bit of a pickle.
Now, can you barter with the devil a little bit and say take half the money?
Yes, you can.
Or a 75% chance of.
Well, you can't barter with the devil, but you could barter with God. Because if there's a devil, there's also going to be a God, which you've also cleared that up for everyone.
Facts.
So that's a check mark in the good books for you.
Right.
And so you could make a deal with God, say offer him 200 billion to make this problem go away. Thus, you're up.
God really
billion.
needs that money.
He could do a lot of good with that 200 billion. I think this is fair to say. You guys don't think?
When did you actually dream this up?
On my way driving home from the cottage. But I actually think that it would be something that would be worthwhile doing, because what makes people come together more than if we're all going to die? COVID hasn't done that.
No, this
is going to bring everyone together to solve that problem.
I think if you watched the movie, you'd understand a little bit more how us working together for 20 years would lead us to nowhere, because that was literally the point of the movie. And if we had 20 years to come up with a solution to a planet-ending problem, we'd kill each other within 10.
You think so?
Oh, 100%. The world will never come together for a common cause. That's the one thing I learned through the pandemic.
We've already
never
not to get political, but we've already been there through climate change. We do have a planet-ending cause.
Well, and in the end, that's
we
what
are
this
no
movie
closer
is.
to solving it. Really,
But
That is
that's-
actually what the movie's about, is climate change, right?
yeah, it is for the most part.
climate
Because
change.
some people
you
think
could-
it's COVID, but the movie was actually written prior to the pandemic. So,
Oh, really? Because I thought there were references to COVID.
they may have filmed the movie during once COVID started, but the entire thing was written prior to November of 2019. So,
Right, yeah. I got that it was about climate change, but I thought that some of the references in there.
I think there's some things that people will
Yeah.
obviously be drawn to that way because it's it feels like a very obvious comparison, but it's meant to be climate change.
Right.
But the thing is, with climate change, there are some benefits to climate change, right? Because
look outside.
You get some
Today.
better weather sometimes in the winter. Where with something like the meteor coming, there's no positive benefits, only negativity, which brings the positivity,
Unless you're
which
an
brings the
anarchist.
people together.
I think if you were a good communicator, the news conference that you would hold 5-year point or the 10-year point or whatever it is, Puffy, if you could sell them on the fact that you made a mistake, America in particular is the land of second chances, right?
I would admit my shortcomings on this. I would.
Right. So people always, they do something horrendous and they get on the cover of People magazine how they've changed, and then everybody loves them again. So maybe you could pull that off, and then you'd be a win-win.
In order for people to love you again, they ask you to donate all the money you got into the cause of saving the world.
You got to do it.
I would donate $500 billion for sure.
You just bury a little bit on the side that they don't know about.
Well, that's
right?
the thing. Then what's the whole point of going through the entire thing?
Well, because
they had 5 amazing years.
I got 700 billion to do it, so I'm up 200 billion.
Maybe.
I would do it.
That's Puffy's hypotheticals.
Would you party with me? Would you party with me?
Absolutely. Yeah.
In the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Do we know? We know the situation.
You don't know.
Like confident.
I pull you aside in like year 4.5, and I say I might have done something wrong.
I think I might have an issue here.
After 4.5 years of partying with you, I probably will have come to that conclusion.
The way Jimmy, I might have an issue here.
Would you forgive me?
No.
You wouldn't forgive me? But I told you I did something wrong.
Depends how much you brought us along for the good times.
You'd have plenty of good times.
I don't know, buddy. I don't know. I think that personally, I can't handle. I maybe I'm just I'm thin-skinned to. I couldn't handle the world hating me, no matter how much fun I'd had for 5 years. I couldn't handle that.
Short news cycle. It wouldn't last very long.
End of the world.
You do have
You're probably right, though.
The devil helping you out, by the way.
Guy makes deal with devil, causes end of world, and we would forget about it in 24 hours.
It would be, yeah.
Exactly.
The next headline would be like 90-day fiance woman sells farts in jars.
Yeah.
That would completely dominate the news.
That would be my fiance you're talking about.
Hey, Stoff did a whole list of hypotheticals here. Do you want to do one more before we move on to the other segments, or should we move on to all these other segments we haven't done? Which one do you like here, Stoff? Would you visit Jurassic Park if it was real?
I think that is a good one.
Yeah.
Now, is it the Jurassic Park in the original Jurassic Park with all the clear faults in the security system?
Well, it's not clear faults, but you're going to a park where they resurrected dinosaurs and you don't know what they actually...
See, I think my tendency is always to believe that people are smarter than they are and security. So I would probably go thinking I would be safe. I think they figure that stuff out, right? I wouldn't go on the first day of Jurassic Park. I think we've seen from the movies that's a mistake.
Yes.
Right.
But the first weekend?
I'd let it be open for a month. I want it to be. I want the T-Rex exhibit to be. But I want those T-Rexes to be trained. Like the dolphins.
But say you wait a month and then all of a sudden, like 2 weeks in, everyone got killed in the massive killings by the dinosaurs. You missed out.
Did I really miss out?
But if you're there week 1, you would have had a great time. You would have said you should go, bring the family. It's for everyone. And then, so you would have had an awesome, you would have missed out on that experience.
It's a good point by you, Puff. It's a good point. I'm going to Jurassic Park if it's real, for sure. I love the dinosaurs.
And it's in Costa Rica too, right?
Do you think, one more question to this. Do you think there was a recent discovery, I will butcher this as I butcher most things in the news.
Is this about the moon again?
No, it's they did do some sort of Jurassic Parkish type thing in cloning some sort of dinosaur egg or something.
Really?
They actually, I did read a news story that they did something. Now, I'm not saying that they've created dinosaurs, but they took another step in the chain.
You heard it.
So here's the thing. If we were to live for another 100 years, do you think, and forget the ethics of bringing dinosaurs
We might only
back,
have 30.
do you think they will be able to bring the dinosaurs back in the next 100 years?
Yeah, I think so, probably. I mean, we have the ability to clone now, don't we?
Yeah, but you can't. This is something from millions of years ago. Like I don't really. The science of Jurassic Park is probably a little sketchy. But do you think that the progress that is being made? We have the ability to clone sheep and things right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think in 100 years you would be able to bring dinosaurs back if you wanted to?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. But it's just, should we? That's what they say.
Well, the definite answer is yes.
There's some
Clearly.
people who believe that the Flintstones actually happen in the future.
Whoa.
Flintstones.
Dinosaurs come back, mess everything up. For some reason, we have to run with our feet to drive cars, but it's a minor
It's heavy.
setback for pet dinosaurs.
That's heavy.
Imagine
That's
having
heavy
a Dino.
right there.
If the dinosaurs came back, though, would we be able to live with them, or would we all die?
Well, that's the. Did
I
you
don't know.
did you read? I don't want to do a spoiler alert here, but did you?
We live with
Did
hippos.
did your Wikipedia thing of the movie? Did it get to the last scene of the movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
It said that some aliens eat the president and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I guess
Yeah,
they're aliens.
kinda.
I kind of thought of them as dinosaurs. Didn't you? Stop.
They're alien creatures on another planet, but they very much resemble
resemble
Oh,
dinosaurs.
okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Okay, let's get to another. We have so many segments that we haven't done for such a long time today. We've teased this for ages, so why don't we do Jimmy's Summer Adventures?
Jimmy's Summer Adventures, what can we say? He played golf with the boys just about every single day. He had a good time and everything was fine. So I guess you could say the summer was a beauty.
What on the previous episode of Jimmy Summer's Adventures did we do one? Did we do an episode or just talk about this segment?
And we did.
That's
we,
a
two of them.
possibility.
we did one. It was your very expensive Uber ride back.
Yep.
The Uber. Oh, that was on season 7, episode 1.
Yes, and I actually had a follow-up question that I meant to ask you.
Okay.
It's because you said that when you guys got in the car, you said, "Hey, what will it take for you to get us to Toronto?" And he gave you the price of X amount. And then,
$1,500.
and then about a couple hours in, Brooksy made the discovery, like, "Hey, do you have driver guy? Do you have your passport on you?" And you
Right.
realized he would not be able to get you to that final destination. Was
Correct.
there a price adjustment made?
No, there was not. Except that I had to pay $400 more to get a car to come to Buffalo to get me. So there was not. That's a good question.
Hmm.
And the funny thing is that so the Uber driver saves 2 hours, 4 hours round trip, right? Because he drops me in Buffalo.
Mhm.
But he was deeply disappointed that he didn't get to take us all the way. He wanted to complete the trip for the story.
Oh,
And also because I guess he'd only been to Canada once or something like that. So he desperately wanted to take me all the way to Aurora and was quite disappointed he couldn't, even though it saved him 4 hours. Interesting, isn't
nice.
it? That's how good of a guy that guy was.
Really good.
Jimmy Summer's Adventures. Why don't we do my hole in one? I haven't talked about it in a while. Jimmy loves golf, as you know. A lot of people ask, tell me your hole in one story." This is not a terrific story, but I'll tell you. Puffy probably has already heard it. Stoff hasn't. So I get up. I'm not even, most days I get up intending to play golf. This is the day I wasn't even going to play golf. And then my buddy Brad texts me and says, "I got a match. I need a match buddy." Because in golf, this is kind of what I've found out about. I've only been in like the little clubby atmosphere the last 5 years. There's like club championships, right? You play matches leading up to it. And guys are very insecure and they want a match buddy there. Because if there's some sort of controversial ruling, they want to have a guy on their side. Or if they're not playing well, they want to have a buddy to say, "Hey, let's go, Puffy, pick it up out there," right?
Really? Oh, I didn't
So
know.
Yeah.
sorry, so you're not on their team. Actually, you're more.
It's a singles match. So basically for it's not club championships, but it's like match play. So basically I draw Puffy in my match. We call each other, we figure out a day to play our match against each other. And then there's 2 other spots in the foursome. So you could get two other guys to play, or each guy could bring a buddy.
Mhm.
So Brad's like, I need a match buddy today. I got a big match today. So I'm like, I got stuff to do. I wasn't going to golf today. Fine, I'll come out. And Brad's in the match. The other guy's got a match buddy too. I hit my tee shot into the woods on 1 and take a triple. I hit my tee shot into the water on 2 and make a double. So now I'm 5 over. And on our golf course, King's Riding, after the third hole, you can leave and go to the parking lot. And I was ready to go.
Really?
And not that I'm not a sour golfer, but I'm just like, I didn't want to play anyway. I had all the stuff I had to do. Now I'm 5 over through 2. I bogey 3, so now I'm 6 over. I'm like, oh God, this is just a disaster. Par 4, so I'm 6 over through 4. I decide I'm going to stick around for my buddy. Got to give him. So these guys are in their match. 5th hole, downhill, par 3, back pin, 128 yards. Jimmy hits his shot, good shot, but it's a weird, sunny, still morning. Can't really see anything. So these other guys, good shot. They all hit the shots, and none of them are on the green. So they all go down, and Jimmy's walking down and going, I'm not really thinking about it. I'm thinking that was a pretty good shot. But then I get up and there's no balls on the green. And I'm like, it's a pin's right at the back. So I go, there's a back bunker. I said, I must have hit it in the back bunker. But these guys aren't even paying attention because they're looking for their balls. And just as I'm walking up towards the bunker, I carry my bag. I see my ball mark, pretty significant ball mark, like 2 feet in front of the hole. So right away, my heart kind of jumps a little bit. I should say that I've played golf since I was 15 years old. I took a break when I had a bunch of kids, but I've never really come close to a hole-in-one. I've had balls 6 inches away, but I've never had that one right off the stick or hanging on the edge. And I kind of convinced myself I would never get one. It just wasn't my destiny to get a hole-in-one. Just, it wasn't meant to be, even though I have lots of golf left ahead of me. So I see this mark 2 feet in front of the hole, and I'm like, ooh. There's enough, if you're not a golfer, there's enough of a dent in the grass to know I don't know how that ball would have carried over the green. And then, so I peek in the hole and see my ball. And I have to admit, I lost, it was embarrassing how I lost it. I let out a primal scream of it's deep in my body, ah! Like this. And I just started running around the green. And these guys, I guess, kicked in what had happened. And they got pretty excited for me too. But for those 10 or 15 seconds, I was a complete and utter moron. And I'm a pretty calm guy in life. I don't really get excited about things too often. And but it was I was so excited. But then as soon as all that happens, you take your little pictures with the ball and everything you always do when you get a hole-in-one. Now I'm I got to keep the scoreboard. That's another thing you do when you get a hole-in-one. This is my scorecard. But I'm still 4 over. Through 5 holes. So I can't shoot 95 or something on the day I got a hole-in-one, right? So instead of being relaxed, you got a hole-in-one, I felt the pressure ratcheted up because now I had to play and get a decent score for my score. Now that's internal pressure, but anyway, I played great the rest of the day. I screwed up on 18 or I would have shot 78. I ended up shooting 80, which is pretty good when I was 6 over through 3 holes. Hole-in-one story.
So
sorry. You got to buy drinks for everybody. One more thing. You got to buy drinks for everybody. That's the rule when you get a hole-in-one, except if you're with Club Link, it's covered. So it's actually covered for an hour. It was a middle of the week day. We got to the patio. There was one other guy, one other guy on the patio and the 4 of us. So my drink tally was $30 anyway. 2
questions. First one, you can't see was the green obscured from the tees? You couldn't see it?
It's like a downhill. If you were standing on the tee box, most of the time you can see it. But the time of day it was, just the way the sun was pointing, it just was kind of in your eyes, so you couldn't
make out exactly what happened.
Yeah, and even though it's only 130 yards away, you just couldn't make it out.
And the other thing you said, Club Link covers the drinks if you get a hole-in-one?
So part of your Club Link fee, and again, Club Link, for any of our listeners that don't know, is a company that owns about couple hundred golf courses, and so you can play different golf courses when you're a member of Club Link. So part of the fee you pay every year is hole-in-one insurance. You're paying hole-in-one insurance for everybody. So if somebody gets a hole-in-one and it's validated by witnesses or whatever, the next hour, I believe, in the the restaurant or on the patio, everybody gets, I think, one drink. Anything else you would have to cover yourself.
But it's validated by the guys in your own foursome.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. It can't be BS.
So why not every time you get back to the clubhouse,
Well,
you're like, hey, Jimmy just hit a hole in one.
Yeah.
Puffy just hit a hole in one.
Yeah.
Well,
Drinks
funny
every
story.
time.
Another friend of mine this year, I don't want to identify him because in case the other friend listens to the pod or something. But basically a younger gentleman in his 20s, and his friend got a hole in one. And so I saw it posted on Instagram. Like I saw the shot, first hole in one. And I'm like, wow, that's impressive. And so I picked up the phone and called the guy, and it's like, so your buddy got a hole in one? He's like, yeah, I got to tell you the story, man. He didn't really get one. And I'm like, what? He goes, he teed off and he hit it's like a hole over water. He just completely hit a worm burner into the water. And so he just reloaded and got a hole in one. And so they got up to the green and he's like, sorry, buddy. That's a great 3, but too bad. And he goes, screw this. I'm counting it.
Yeah.
And counted it. And it's funny. It was eating away at my friend to the point where a few weeks later at a party, he went up to him and said, and it's his best friend.
Oh,
and
wow.
He said, so this would be equivalent of like, me and one of you guys. And I'd be like, hey, Puff, you can't keep telling people you got the hole in one, buddy. It's bugging me. You didn't get the hole in one. And he's like, screw that. I did. No
I would be like,
you know,
I got that.
You know who your buddy is? He's literally the definition of what people say to someone when they go, wow, you must be fun at parties.
Yeah.
I understand by the rules of the game and all that, it's not a hole in one, and on the score sheet you should count 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the fact that this guy hit it off the tees into the hole and he's gonna tell people he got a hole in one, I don't think that.
I don't know. I think I'd be the same way. It would bother me, and that's just being a golf guy. It would really bother me because it's integrity, right?
I know,
You
but
gotta have
buddy,
integrity.
I've golfed up there, and you know very well that every single golfer has their own different integrities.
Yeah.
Different guys count things very differently.
I know. So I'm just talking about my own personal.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
I would understand. Like I don't think I would let it eat away at me, but it would, it would bother me. So I would think differently of the person somewhat.
Sure. Because of how much they were telling people, I guess.
Correct. Anyway.
Yeah. I know personally I couldn't do it. It would eat away at me that I did that shot, but it was my 3rd off the tee.
Oh, it would drive me crazy.
It's
the worst nightmare.
But why can't you can also tell the story that way?
Oh, I would just say,
I got a hole in one, but technically not really.
I got the best par of my life.
It doesn't make that shot any less impressive.
Don't you think it's a better story in a way? A lot of people get holes in one, but to get it on your 3rd, it is and I think I'd laugh about it more, right?
But it would drive me nuts.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, but you're no better of a golfer if you get the hole in one legit, and then you go on the next hole and then you plunk 3 into the water there and count it.
Right.
So.
Right. Anyway, Jimmy Summers Adventures back after about a 3-4 months.
I can honestly tell why people have been fiending for this segment.
Yeah,
this delivered.
Yeah. How about Urban Dictionary?
Oh, is that back?
How about it?
Urban Dictionary. Yeah. Urban Dictionary.
Someone said this to me the other day. Beef or biscuit. Do you know what that is?
Say it again.
B for biscuit. B for biscuit. You can't look it up, Puffy. Are you looking it up?
No. I'm trying to think.
As in the letter B, B for biscuit.
I have no idea what that is.
Beef or biscuit. I thought you said beef or biscuit. Like
no, B for biscuit is apparently. Do you guys want to have a guess first?
I mean,
B for biscuit would be.
It's a very useful
someone-
thing on this podcast, by the way. So we may want to use it going
So
forward.
if someone misunderstands something, I guess you correct them and say, no, that's B as in biscuit, or no,
I don't think there's a good hint in here that's going to give you the idea what it is. I don't. It's an unfair, kind of an unfair Urban Dictionary, because I don't think there's nothing in B for biscuit that would clue into what it is. So you're just going to have pure guesses. Puffy, what's your guess?
I don't know.
So it is the ending statement of a pointless argument. So if we're arguing about something stupid on this podcast, and we decide for it to be over, I say B for biscuit, and then you say B for biscuit, and it's gone. Kind of like what's the old one of what was the girl's name? Adios, Helena, or whatever it was. What is it?
Oh, good. From
See you, Ramona. Goodbye, Ramona.
By Letitia?
No. From oh god, this is terrible.
Sayonara.
It's from Straight Outta Compton.
Kadisha.
Goodbye,
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. It's not from Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, it is.
It's
Bye,
from next
Felicia's
Friday,
not-
buddy. It's from next Friday, or from Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Next
Okay.
Friday, one of them.
Bye, Felicia.
Straight Outta
But they did
It's from
it in-
Boys in the Hood.
Yeah, it's not from Boys in the Hood.
Stop naming Ice Cube movies.
It's but they use it in Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah, definitely. Because Ice Cube was in the original.
B for biscuit is in Straight Outta Compton. That's how they end the gang war.
Bye, Felicia.
That's how the Crips and Bloods put their
B for
differences
biscuit,
aside.
boys.
You got
So
any
there
more
you
there,
go.
Jimmy?
Oh yeah,
Jimmy.
I got. How about
Are these
A-hole
all
or
coming
A-
from your kids? Oh.
A-hole or A-OK?
No,
Okay,
hold on.
let's do it.
We're still doing urban. I meant, do you have any more?
Oh, you no, I
Yeah.
have one more. You got another one?
I have one.
Oh,
Well,
okay,
you needed
nice.
we needed the looper.
Yeah, see, the looper's not here. We just keep going.
All right, go ahead. I gotta fetch a ball for Hugo while you're telling it.
Totally.
Go ahead.
So our Urban Dictionary term for this particular one is Urban Dictionary. What does
Whoa.
Urban Dictionary define
Whoa.
as on Urban Dictionary?
Whoa.
Oh.
Whoa.
Well, I guess it's just the dictionary of the street.
Yeah. It's lingo for the hip lingo for the kids.
Slang.
Like what I say, adios, Kadisha.
Adios, Kadisha. Sayonara Sam. All right. On Urban Dictionary is defined as a site where it's a challenge to find one subject where no one talks about sex. And then the example given is me looks up cookie. Definition, a woman's me, okay, looks up Kelly Clarkson. Definition, a fun young piece of that I do some naughty things to if we met. Looks up herbal essences. Definition, the act of
Oh my god.
of course,
Yeah,
Urban Dictionary,
You
of
need
course.
to beep
Oh, yeah.
some of that. But B for biscuit is not sexual. It's just the end of
No.
an argument.
Oh, biscuit sounds for you.
I know it sounds
I'm
dirty.
going to type in biscuit right now and see what comes up on Urban Dictionary.
All right.
Okay, I hit enter. What's going on here? Oh, I spelled biscuit wrong. That's not good. Biscuit is simply the definition is what you risk it for. Because you
Risk
to
it
get
for the biscuit.
Yeah, you got to risk it to get the biscuit. So.
Risk it to get the biscuit. I like it. Are we done?
Oh wow!
with
It's also a bump of cocaine apparently,
Cocaine.
and a tush
biscuit
or booty. Yeah. So. Oh my god! I swear to God, I'm not making this up. I just typed in Duffy into the Urban Dictionary.
Hold on a second.
I don't-
Racist white dude.
Please type it in and read it, Jimmy.
All right. Duffy. Wait a second. A predator who assaults and harasses specific women in safe environments with no
man.
given motive besides sadism. Who's often affiliated with a gang of friends who are potentially as deranged as him.
It's fair.
Using a sentence, this Duffy stalked, harassed, and touched me in college for no reason, with his construction course pals goading him on.
Yeah, Mark Ward and those thugs.
How is that in there?
The worst
People
part
are
is
fans
it's
of
posted
yours.
by assault victim. That's the person's username.
Okay, so
I
Duffy
can't
is a big.
involve Jimmy because it would have had both names if it was Jimmy.
Yeah, that's right.
Jimmy would have
Duffy
been
is
both
very
names.
Okay,
big.
sorry, Jamie. There's one that's not as incriminating. If you scroll down to the next definition, it's just a human being that is ugly and desperate. So we'll stick with it. We'll
That's
stick
more
with that
fitting.
one.
That is definitely more fitting. That one.
That's what the Ottawa Duffys are all about.
Hold on, Duffy, also an Australian slang for shit. I'm gonna snap off a Duffy.
So I'm either predator,
I have.
an ugly dude, or poopsie.
Okay, so Jimmy, I ask you this: of those three, what would you rather be?
I think I already picked the ugly guy. The ugly.
I don't think
what
that's
was it?
true.
Ugly, desperate, ugly and desperate.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that's a little terrifying. Please don't. Any of our listeners don't use that. I think we got a killer dictionary now. Hold on, let's see.
Pull a Duffy. Do not
Hold on,
pull
let's
a
see.
Duffy.
Let's see what Puffy is. Now I'm going down a road.
There's a rabbit hole there. Known to associate with Duffys.
Puffy means 3 words here: huge friggin' nipples.
Oh, that is true.
And since we're here,
I typed in rubber boots. We'll do stuff in a second. Rubber boot is a condom. I want to talk about condoms without my parents noting. Well, call them rubber boots. So
makes a lot of sense.
Oh wow!
Does this thing freeze up on you?
A little bit. You guys don't want to know what a hot rubber boot is.
Okay. Stoff. Let's see what we got here. Stoff is another word commonly used for eat stuff and die.
Oh, you guys are a couple of heads.
I have to go drop a Stoff.
If my dad finds out what we did, I'll be in deep stuff.
And finally,
oh wow,
Lester.
There's another one.
Lester. Oh, of course. Stoff is. What was Puffy again? Was
handsome, big nipples,
big
nipples. I'm like all sorts of horrible things. Lester, very handsome and outgoing.
No
Tends
way.
to be a very wealthy man who's good with pets and children. Well, that's not true.
And who sums up all subjects.
There are many times when his heart has been broken, but that doesn't stop him from trying to find that special person to fill the void in his heart. Also has a tendency to be able to close loops during open-ended conversations. Fascinating.
Hold on. I found something interesting scrolling down on Stoff here. Now, Stoff, spelled Stoffe, is apparently a golf term.
Ooh.
Oh.
Do you know what a Stoff in golf would be?
It's when you actually get a hole in one.
You get a hole in one on a third shot. It's a Stoff.
Close. A verb when a golfer strikes the ball from the tee without ever landing on or near the fairway. So they've literally named this after me.
Nice.
Okay, we got to move along here. There's a hockey game to be done tonight. So let us get to A-hole or A-okay.
Is it A-hole or is it A-okay?
So Brooksy's down in the Turks and Caicos, and
Nice.
She calls me the first night, and she says the guy in the room next to her, the Waimara, is teaching an aerobics class in French. This is at midnight, and so it's all she can hear is this guy. She thinks he's not taking part in the class. He's actually the teacher of the class in the suite. So if you're this guy, I mean, you obviously have a bunch of students depending on you, getting them in shape wherever they are, back in France or Quebec or all over the world. Do you have more of a responsibility to them or to Brooksy next door who's trying to get to sleep?
Sorry, so you're saying the actual guy is next door?
He's
on
teaching an
Zoom
aerobic
or
class.
whatever. He's teaching.
Peloton, whatever. He's teaching an aerobic
She's sure
class.
it's not someone who just has one of these people on in their room.
No, she said she can tell it's his real voice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's got an obligation to his clients.
Yeah, especially
he's
if it's
not-
back in France.
I think there's a
He's
little
got-
a-hole in there.
He's got to pay for that hotel he's staying at.
I don't think you can go to a hotel and crank it up like that. You have to be respectful for the people next door. You have to plan ahead.
I don't know. When we were at Turks, there was people filming inspirational videos next door to us.
That's true. No one takes sleep from my Brooksy except me. All right, you know, like
I know.
Roll over for a little cuddle. All right. Well, I think we've done almost everything. Did you have anything else on there, Stoff?
Well, we had some watchings if we wanted to get those. We had that lost story. I don't know if people want to hear about that.
Let's do that, Stoff, because this kind of feeds into segments that we forgot. So you're telling me that a couple of years ago on this pod,
yes.
during the podcast, we did a story.
So
and then we felt it was inappropriate, right?
Yes, this was back when you used to find things you found on Twitter. It was actually things Jimmy found on Twitter.
Right.
And one thing you found was a story that had gone viral at that point about a man and a woman who were having the romantic
relations.
time. Yes.
Relations.
And as so, his head became stuck in her area.
Mm-hmm.
And they needed to call in, yes. Her haha, and they needed to call an ambulance basically to get him out. And this was something we talked about on the podcast. We obviously had some fun with it, and then afterwards, you realized that this story was indeed a fake. And since
which we probably should have realized when we read it, but it did go incredibly viral.
Since this was a season 2, you still believe that there was some sort of integrity attached to this podcast.
Right.
And hence you had me edit it out. And I particularly remember this story because this was one of the most difficult edits I had to make in this podcast's history. And that includes Puffy's
a lot.
at the Masters.
We've started.
No way.
And
because we must have wove the story.
100%. The story happened very early in the pod, and I'm not kidding you. Every single minute there was some sort of callback joke. And I still remember while I was editing, what infuriated me the most was whenever I would make the callback joke. Instead, I was just creating more work for myself. Basically, that was
wait a second.
The stuff you missed from the editing floor, people.
Oh, okay. So the story hasn't come back or anything. It didn't happen again. Okay. You were just bringing people
glimpse
back.
Behind the curtain.
Taking people back to what season 2 was like and the process that became the hit podcast that is Rubber Boots. Yeah, when we do the Netflix series on the making of that'll be an epi.
Yeah. Who's gonna play the guy and the girl?
Episode 3.
They'll actually have to reenact it.
Oh, geez.
No, it's a fake story.
Gotta be over for sex.
Okay, let's do What You Watching.
What you watching? Just between you and me. What you streaming on your TV? Let me see. What you watching? Action, drama, comedy. What you streaming on your TV?
Jackass is coming back. I watched the
Jackass
trailer you sent us for Jackass Forever. I have to say, like, this is pretty much the stupidest movies anywhere, but they're endlessly entertaining as long as nobody gets through. Now, isn't one of the cast members passed away?
Deceased, perhaps.
A few.
Johnny O?
He died in a drinking and driving accident.
Johnny O?
No.
I think you're combining two. There's Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O, and they're both.
Oh, Steve-O. Steve-O's alive still?
Johnny O.
I met Steve-O. Steve-O was an in-studio guest when TSN 1050 first opened, like within the first couple of weeks. I remember.
Was he normal?
He was a super nice guy, and I remember he took our show rundown, which was a couple of pieces of paper, took his shirt off, and proceeded to staple it to his own chest.
Oh my God.
Jesus.
Like he's one of those guys who's like, you're like, how's he still alive?
How's he alive?
And the funny thing was, this was after he went he was a couple months sober at this point. Like he was just like, I'm going to staple this.
Remember when they put it in one of the Jackass movies, they put a big hook through his mouth and put chum all over him and threw him out behind the back of a deep sea fishing boat.
Some of their stuff's disgusting. Some of it's too over the top, but a lot of it's so stupid, but it's funny. Like I remember first movie came out, I was like, I don't know, 16 years old or something. I love that. This looks like it's going to be some fun. So a couple of things I noticed from the preview, I'm going to ask which one of these activities that we saw in the preview you guys would be willing to do. There's one where Johnny Knoxville's shot out of a cannon.
Yes.
I mean, he's shot out of a cannon. He flies through the air.
There's
another one where there's two people wearing glass helmets with a connecting bridge almost.
Yeah.
and they put a tarantula. It looks like a tarantula spider in the middle, and it starts crawling towards one of them.
I could do that for a lot of money. It would be
honest to God.
Well, tarantulas are apparently mostly harmless. Like people have them as pets, but I don't know if I can handle.
Do you want to take that chance though? Like that's
Yeah.
crazy. The other one was a punch from a MMA heavyweight fighter, who, by the way, they tell the guy receiving the punch it's a lightweight fighter, which I'm not sure that really matters at that point. But yeah, you're getting struck by a guy who knows how to hit you, or being bit by a possibly venomous snake, because the guy doesn't make it clear if it's actually venomous.
Oh yeah, he goes.
It's a Texas rat snake.
Venomous?
The snake would be the last one I would do. The other three
I would do the shooting out of the cannon too. That would be fun, as long as there's like a decent net or something like that.
Cannon I do. The tarantula I do for the right price. The punch I would do for the right price.
Yeah, I think I'd do the punch too.
Yeah, the snake, I don't know. That would be a pretty good price. I don't know. A couple million, I'd probably let it. Would you let it bite you in the private parts?
I think it would have to be non-venomous, because even though, like, for the setup of the
like
movie,
how many
they couldn't allow it. They couldn't allow it.
You just have that anti-venom. You have the anti-venom there.
Yeah,
you have someone around to suck it out.
This 100 Years, the movie, I read about this before you put it on here. This is a film written by John Malkovich, directed by Robert Rodriguez. So big name guys. But they are not
all dead.
They're not releasing it till 2100 and 2115. The 100-year span matches the time it takes for a bottle of Louis VIII cognac to be properly aged before it's released to consumers. And so the tagline of the movie you'll never see.
You couldn't come up with a more pretentious douchebag
100%
ever. Like they know it too. They were drunk when they came up with this idea.
I think it'd be hilarious if the whole movie was just a guy farting on camera or something.
Yeah. Well, first of all, this is not like when John Malkovich and Robert Rodriguez are gone, which will be long before 100 years. Somebody will, if they actually made this film, somebody will just release it. Nobody's going to keep it.
So they're saying the only copy is in, I believe, where they make the Louis cognac. It's like locked in a seal, and it will not unlock until that date.
Wow.
I bet you the thing will be a hit, because like right now,
who would want to see it, right?
We'll make movies about, something that happened 50 years ago. Now they're being able to make a movie in the present that will then be from 100 years. Like it'll be a pretty cool thing.
I'm just curious as to what the movie's about.
Yeah.
Like, imagine it's just like a rip-off of another mystery movie or something. Like, it's a clear rip-off of something else. No one 100 years from now will remember.
You just do Pulp Fiction, but with a sci-fi twist.
Yeah, it is true.
And now this was fascinating to me because I had not even heard about this. Fresh Prince. So explain to me this, and I'll set it up for our audience. There are two. They're done a remake of the Fresh Prince, but there are two trailers. One that was done in 2019 that never actually became a show, or was that a movie? So
basically, in 2019, this trailer started to circulate on the internet, and I think some people just made it independently as a mock trailer. It wasn't of an actual show or a movie that existed, and they made basically on what if Fresh Prince was a drama and not a comedy.
Oh,
and so they had the characters in there. They had, but
it was a good trailer.
Yeah, it was a great trailer. It was scenes that, would match kind of the show, match the characters, but put a serious spin on it. And it looked like this, gripping drama.
The only reason why you're not in jail is because Uncle Phil called in a favor. It's time for a change. You're going to Bel Air to live with your uncle and your auntie.
Bel Air, out of all places.
This is a second chance, Will. Don't waste it.
And that trailer itself is actually what inspired Will Smith to relaunch the series and to make a dramatic version of his own. And this week is when they released the trailer for the actual show that they're making.
Do you know why I'm here from Philly?
Scrapping the bull court. Got nasty.
Who threw that? Was it you?
Now some bad man from Philly, he want to deal with you.
Boy, I moved mountains to get you here.
So here's the story. Came to Bel Air for a better education. Simple. Be patient. Give this a real chance.
Obviously, drastically different from the mock trailer version, but for me, I actually felt the mock trailer was a lot more, pulled you in a little bit more. It just seemed a lot. I don't know. Maybe
I watched
it.
I watched it second, maybe. Which I think if I watched it first, but you're right. It looked a little more gritty, a little grittier, right?
Yeah.
So, if anybody hasn't seen these trailers, Stoff can tweet them out. But the thing that caught me most from this is like Carlton is cool
in the movie. Especially more so in the new one where he's on a field hockey team or something, and
he looks like he's like the cool kid, the cool kid in school sort of thing,
right? But at a very preppy school. I think that's kind of still the point. Which I think Carlton on the show, he was obviously he was made to be this nerd, this geek, but at that school before Will showed up, he kind of had the run. He was
the guy. Oh,
he was the guy.
That'll be interesting. I want to know in the serious movie, they have to do like a Carlton dance somewhere in there.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. There's got I will watch the show.
I'm not really feeling the Uncle Phil, and maybe that will grow on me a little bit, but it's just hard not to picture that as James Avery.
But it's well done.
What network is this on?
I believe NBC, because I think it's going to be a show that airs on Peacock.
Yeah,
Peacock.
Did NBC have the original? They did. Yeah,
yes, they did. And I guess that's why they teamed up with Will to do it. I mean, I hope they execute this well. I mean, I was a huge fan of the original series. The show meant a lot to me. So,
and the show hopefully they don't mess serious too. I mean, it was serious.
It had its moments,
of course,
but goofy sitcom serious. A very special Prince of Bel Air. We should get Lester's thoughts on all these things before we go. Oh, he hasn't been with us all day. Oh, that's embarrassing.
How was your weekend?
An hour in. I think we're probably going to be off next week. There's a possibility we'll be on, but there's a decent chance we'll be off next week because of some logistical challenges, mainly for me. Sorry, guys. Yeah. And then we'll be back afterwards with season 9. Will that be season 9?
Yes. Hopefully Lester has the theme by then. He won't know.
Hopefully we're ready to start the Gold Bar League in February, which will be on YouTube. So enjoy, everybody. Thanks to our friends at betsafe.net. I probably forgot to mention them off the top because we're so excited about getting into Puffy's Hypotheticals. We haven't heard from in ages. But thanks to our friends at BetSafe, and we'll see you soon here on the Rubber Boots Pod.
Hey, how are ya? I got a question that I really want to ask you. Wait. Don't hang up. I need to know, so I'm gonna try and push my luck. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair? I know it's a little strange, my obsession with your choice of footwear in the rain. And I know that you're on TV, but I need you to put your boots up on the desk for me. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank or the fair? This is the part they call the bridge. A bridge has water under it. With rubber boots you can wade in the water. Just don't fall in. Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Are they purple, yellow, green, or black or white? Are you wearing your rubber boots tonight? Do you like the dunk tank at the fair?
boots tonight?